Hi there, and welcome to another live stream from state-controlled Britain. So I'll have to watch my P's and Q's, I think. And I've got with me Black Box Warning TV's fantastic presenter, Liz. Hello.
Hello. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. So the question that will be on everyone's lips when they first tune in is, what have you got on your head?
These are my kitty Krakens. I love them. They're my brand new headphones. So mine, I stepped on them and crushed them. So I was about to do a live stream and I picked them up and I had nothing to like hear with. It's crazy. So I had to order them. And these are really good headphones. And plus the ears light up. I mean, who could ask for more?
So when do they light up? Are they lighting up now?
Yeah, they're pink. It's hard to see, and then the sides actually have lights on them and everything. Because Razer likes their lights for whatever reason. Like the keyboard also lights up. So
okay,
crazy. Yeah, stuff. And then my mic lights up. Picking the lights, I guess.
Yeah, I think it'd be great if the lights could be in sync with just how much your blood's boiling, or how cross you are, or how happy you are.
That would be good. That would be cool. I had never thought about that.
Yeah. Right, let's just say hello to a few people. Howdy, Stephen and Liz from Josephine. Thank you. And she's saying that they're cute. Well, that's very good. Good morning. Good morning from Chicago. That's Elizabeth. The Windy City. Is it? So what time is it there? It's 8 in the morning, is it?
It's 9 in South Carolina. So.
Okay, and it's 2 p.m. here in state-controlled Britain, where you just can't say anything. It's just not allowed. In fact, I don't know if you've been having this, but my subscriber count on YouTube going down a bit. A couple of other influencers talking about theirs going down. It's crazy.
Well, they changed their tactics completely, like their approach to how they push material. So it's good and both bad. They're getting rid of the AI slop, but then also they're pushing. Like if let's say you do better quality stuff and say you're not like you don't have like 1 million subscribers. The people with 1 million subscribers who are basically getting views because they just have 1 million subscribers and they're putting out stuff, but it's not good quality. They're not going to be rewarded for that anymore. Like that's good. You can't surf on your reputation or whatever. So now you have to earn it. And so that means that smaller creators who put a lot more time and effort into their stuff and they have better quality is going to be rewarded versus that. So I think it's kind of a good thing. And at the same time, and I do know that I woke up and I had lost 5 in one day and there was like no reason for it. And I know they purge people who are subscribed, but they're just kind of inactive or whatever. I know that's a random purge that happens. So, but yeah.
Yeah. And also they're promoting shorts. I don't know if you've seen the YouTube homepage.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're not really concentrating on things like this. They're concentrating on, a minute video. So we'll have to do some clips from this or something.
Well, allegedly they are still pushing the long form. This is according to the guy, I forgot his name, but they're pushing the long form too, but it's just harder if you do long form, you better do it well kind of thing, I think is what the goal takeaway was.
Yeah. Well, I think we do it well and it's interesting and we answer questions. So. Yeah. So always different subjects. Cloudy Cheltenham. So we just had someone from West Florida and we got Michelle from Cloudy Cheltenham, which is the UK. Right. I wanted to ask you about a couple of things we spoke about in the week via email. First one is misdiagnosis of FH. So if you want to go over that, I'd love to hear your thoughts on what happened to you, your own personal experience.
Yeah, so I went to a new doctor. It had to be 2013, something like that. So that was, let me do the math. It's a while ago, it's over 10 years.
13.
Yeah. So 13 years, estimate. It might have been a little bit earlier. But so I go to this new doctor and I was on a narcotic for 17 years, or it's an opioid. It was the drug tramadol because I had fibromyalgia. Another made up word. Okay. And I'm not saying that people with fibromyalgia is not real. Okay. I know it hurts. It's something's wrong, that kind of thing. I'm saying that they don't know what it is. So they just make something up. They just had to have a diagnosis code. So anyway, I moved and I had to find another doctor. So I don't transfer any of my records, nothing. Go to this doctor and she orders blood work. And the very first blood work that she gets, my cholesterol was higher. And I think it was, back then I was eating garbage. So it was like, I don't know, 280 or something like that, total cholesterol. And then triglycerides, I think, were around normal. And my LDL, the LDL, God forbid, was like, I think 180 or something like that. So what I noticed is that from one blood test, and then she asked me about my family history, and my mom or my dad do not have heart like conditions, and there was no heart specific, but my father had a aortic occlusion, I think, or no, it was a God, I can't remember the name, but basically it's your main artery that had to be replaced with like a Dacron graft. So it was either one of two conditions. And he had that replaced when I was about 16 years old. But I mean, the thing is like, I hadn't really looked at that until after this visit. I just said, well, he had hardening of the arteries or whatever, it's like, so he had to have that replaced and it was a serious operation or whatever, but that was it. And she diagnosed me, put on my record that I had familial hypercholesterolemia. Now, as you know, this is, well, according to the scripture, it's due to a genetic mutation. And so there's like 3 different like types or whatever. LD, and I can't remember the names. LDL, you probably remember the 3 genes, but I don't know. It doesn't matter. But there's genetic component to this, right? So no, didn't even order a test, just diagnosed me with that. Just one visit. And we all know that diet, if you're looking at cholesterol or you're looking at triglycerides, I mean, you can manipulate that wildly with what you put in your mouth. God knows what I'd put in my mouth before the visit because those values change, right? So you would think that she would even diagnose it with more blood tests or more patterns or something. No, of course not. No, she didn't. She just wanted to put me on that statin immediately. So, and I refused. I never did go on a statin. I think I did early on because I was pretty ignorant and I was in the whole "there's a pill for everything" kind of mentality. I think I did try one once, and I almost immediately had body aches everywhere. But then I was like, kind of came to my senses and I had started to come awake and remove myself from like pharmaceutical. I was still in pharmaceutical industry, but I was kind of veering from it. So I'm like, yeah, that's not good. So, but that's it. Like they can just with wild abandon without any type of objective evidence. And second of all, you get people that come into these places. They'll come to a doctor, they're trusting them, doctor worship and all that. And then they're like, oh, tell me what to do and I'll just do it. First of all, you have a lot of people that'll report their family history. And it's like that game of like telephone where you have a bunch of children in a circle. And at the end, like you say something like, go into the living room and it ends up the dog would like to go to Olive Garden, the last guy. Right. So yes. It's like, an aortic occlusion or whatever it was, like only until later, like when I was looking into like, what was that my dad had going on? I knew enough to put the pieces together. I knew about the Dacron graft. And I'm like, so, later in life, like, because a 16-year-old, I didn't know. I just know he almost died. But that, and I knew what he ate later when I got more into nutrition. I'm like, that man had full fat milk. He had it every day of his life, full fat milk. Okay. The whole milk, right. Which is fine. But he put cornbread in it. He would crumble up cornbread and eat it like it was cereal. That's a thing in the South. We eat a lot of weird. Well, I mean, everybody, I guess all over the world, like people eat weird stuff. But he would take cornbread and he would crumble it up. I mean, you can't imagine like what kind of damage that's doing. Right. And on top of it, my mother had converted him to all seed oils because they told her to. Like, so for years and years and years, she followed, the American Heart Association's recommendation to feed him lots and lots of industrial lubricants via Crisco. So he was eating Crisco and his, and all I could think, later, it's like, if you imagine that, it's like your arterial walls are just becoming, I mean, you've got all that damage that's being done internally between that and between bathing and carbohydrates, because he was a meat eater, but a lot of the times he didn't. Like every Friday we would have steak, baked potato, and salad, because he worked in a grocery store. But all I could think about is, oh, well, that makes sense. He had these issues because of, if you look at what he ate,
Yeah. And I think that's resonating. Sarah saying she remembers doing leftover cornbread with milk as a kid.
It's like it's cereal, it's weird.
I can imagine it. I've never had it, but I can imagine it. Oil was never recommended. Mediterranean D or gas.
Crisco was. Crisco was.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Definitely. That was the American Heart Association, wasn't they?
Oh, yes, it was. That little heart logo is worth trillions. It's like.
Absolutely. Which also is the blue zones, by the way. If you want to be blue zone, you have to pay the trademark, for the certification. Did you know that the blue zones are all to be able to call yourself a blue zone?
Oh, well, how about that? Imagine my shock. It's tied to profits and
ka-ching.
A system.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's how you know something's crap.
Yeah. And he said, if I had a doctor that gave me diabetes med with an A1C of 5.7, I took 2 of the pills and the side effects were horrible. I said, no effing way, and threw them out.
Smart.
Yes. Yeah, smart move. The other thing is, before we get to the questions, I haven't seen this, by the way, Annie. There was a post on X about the FDA recording cholesterol meds. About time too. But anyway, right. The other thing I wanted to talk to you about, and then we get to the questions, was something that I blow hot and cold over, and that's making food that looks like other food. So, and you defended it, I think, because you were doing carnivore waffles. I've got a carnivore version of lasagna in my cookbook, so I'm aware that people like this sort of thing. So just tell us a bit more about what you did and your views on it.
Well, I have a very measured, it's not what you think. Like, so a lot of people, when I look at these, because I'm a food addict, I'm a former food addict, like they got me good and addicted to the food. I ate garbage for years, and I know there's always some kind of somebody mentioned it was a slippery slope. That yes, doing these, pretending like you're part of the old world, when you've come into the new world, you understand what nutrition looks like, and to play pretend and make all the things right. Well, first of all, you are kind of doing this thing where you're like, well, I'm eating for entertainment, right? So that I have a problem with. I have a problem with, not saying I have a problem with other people doing it, because you need to do whatever fits you. And this goes back to my story. When I look at when I started, I had to come up with a psychological protocol for myself, because at the end of the day, you got Chafee. I mean, God knows I made a cult over the man. So it's like, I understand what he's doing, and I think he's doing the right thing. When you actually eat the red meat and the water, I think that's the ideal. I honestly do. I think ruminant meat and water, if I could do it, I would do it. But I'm not him, right? So I know I have to know my own weaknesses and where in the line I can fall into a ditch. I have to be very careful. So one of the things that will happen, and I have no idea why it happens, and it doesn't happen very often anymore, because 3 years into carnivore, I rarely ever do recipes. But if I do not have something I can go to that is not a cheesecake or something crazy, because I have all that stuff in my house because of my family, I will fail. So in order not to fail, I have a break glass in case of emergency. I only have about maybe 4 things, right? One of them is this carnivore waffle recipe. So I don't do it very often. I mean, literally, I do it twice a year. But if I did not have that, I would probably have picked something else. So you have to look at it. Now it's completely, outside of, I put a tiny bit of like the pure stevia or whatever, but I mean, you're talking about a very rare occasion when I'm eating this stuff. And I think it had almond extract, and somebody's like, oh my God, that's terrible. And I'm like, yeah, well, it was a very small amount. And half the time I don't even put it in. So if I didn't have this, psychologically, I would fail. And I think a lot of people, when they go to and I call it surrogate foods, but it's not all the time. that being said, if I did like, there's a guy, Chris Cooking Nashville, and he makes all this stuff and it has lots of things in it. And that's great, for people that like that and it works for them, that's fine. For me, that would never be a lifestyle I could adopt. I can't do this all the time. But at the same time, if I do not have a surrogate food, which is what I call it, that I can actually lean on when times, I don't know, I get weird psychologically, I would fail. And I would maybe grab the cheesecake and I would be going down a very dark road. So, and that's me as a food addict. So the psychological protocols that I put in place are extremely important. And that is the reason I am successful today. And I do not do that. But it's just very rare. At the same time, if I started eating all these things all the time, it would go the other direction. So the waffles are like usually what I go to, but I also do a soup that's got like a lot of cheese in it because I don't normally eat a lot of cheese. It's like a cheesy, creamy meat soup. The kids are like, God, that's disgusting. Like, what are you doing? You're eating like meat soup. I'm like, hey, it's better than your crap,
Yeah, absolutely. No, I'm totally with that. I think partly that might be the deafness because it makes me very visual. And I also think, a texture is underrated because there's many things in carnivore don't have that crunch or, just basically that mouthfeel that all the food scientists manipulate in the ultra processed food market. So it's a real thing. It's not us making all these different terminologies up. It's definitely known that if you can make something feel creamy or crispy or do something in the mouth that most people find pleasurable.
And I know food chemists personally who actually work to create the bliss point. So this is, they work very hard to engineer these products to make you addictive. Because when Lay's says you can't eat just one, they meant it.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, yes, by design. You're absolutely right. I mean, I think that's the thing. Mr. Beaumont here is saying he's 100% straight, but even he would. And when it comes to Chafee, I'm just a plate of leftovers. He's saying hello from Liverpool, which is very good. So let's have a look at the questions now or comments. Mediterranean D saying dragon fruit doesn't contain any anti-nutrients. In fact, it has many anti-inflammatory compounds, so it can be added to a carnivore lifestyle. Absolutely disagree, totally 100%. It's not carnivore, and you get 7 times the amount of carbohydrate than your body wants. Just if you have one dragon fruit, your body only requires about 5 grams of carbs in 5 liters of blood on average, and a dragon fruit has between 25 to 35 grams of carbs, so that's a bit of a no-no.
Yeah, I wouldn't touch that.
No, I wouldn't touch that at all. But thank you for the comment. It's always appreciated. Mr. Beaumont asking a serious question now. But I'm going to look at Mr. Beaumont differently now. He said that about Anthony. Anyway, right. Stem enhancement increases adult stem cell production. Yes. You're talking about the stem cell support. Yep. That's what it does. It increases the release, actually, if we're going to be really picky. Adult stem cells there's a ligand that attaches them to the bone marrow. So if you imagine a tree with a bunch of balloons in there tied to the branches, and then you get some scissors and you just cut 1 or 2 of the balloons off, and off they go into the, let's say, the sky, which represents the bloodstream. And what the stem enhance does is it just increases a few more of the scissors, so the release is increased anyway. So but would you really need Cyactive and plasma flow if you're on line and water, because your body shouldn't be inflamed or making much fibrin? Absolutely. So I hope you see this as me being straight with people, because I actually sell those supplements, but I think in the main people don't need them if they're eating carnivore, because the inflammation is so low. You probably don't need them. But there are times. I've had a couple of clients that very inflamed, CRP really high, a couple of other things going on, and I've said, well, you could try these things. Cyactive is pretty good. The collagen, I can't remember what it's called, Cyactive Plus, Jane used for her pains in her hands, and they absolutely went. So did you want to add anything to that, by the way?
No, I think a lot of times, one thing that has to be remembered is that there's so many amazing testimonials for carnivore, that we have to remember the
Yes.
people that don't have, because I had everything left in 3 days. I literally thought I was living in a cartoon. I woke up and like, there's no way this can be real. It can't be this great, and I was like pinching myself because everything left so quickly. But there's a lot of people that do all the right things, but their body is in a different shape and they have more inflammation for other reasons, because more than one thing can be true at once, right? So you have a lot of
Yes.
different things that can work together to create perfect storms. So I think in the case of this, this sounds like something that's very helpful to people like that who are dealing with inflammation long term.
Yeah, I like what you said there about more than one thing can exist at the same time or something. What was this phrase you just used?
More than one thing can be true at once. Like a
That's
lot of
it,
people,
yes.
a lot of people compartmentalize. They'll look at it and they're like, they'll just look at one. It's like looking at one lab value. Like the A1C has to be. It's like, oh, stop.
Oh, I
It's
see.
like,
Yes,
it's like
yes.
you have confounding fact. You have all the things that can happen that come together. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. Yeah.
that kind
In
of thing.
fact, yeah. I mean, that was actually one of the things I was talking about this morning, how everything is joined up. And the chicken and egg thing, you could have a bad knee, which leads to a bad shoulder on the other side, or you could have a bad shoulder that leads to a bad knee. But the person I was talking to was a dentist, and he was saying that both of those things could be caused by clenching your teeth or grinding your teeth. And he has a bad knee. When he runs, he puts a mouth guard in and the bad knee goes. So that sort of proves.
That's interesting.
Yeah, proves the concept, doesn't it? Which is fascinating. Right. So let's have a look at this question. I love the name, the play on words here. Cyber Truth. This one's for me. Apparently, took a course of amoxicillin, right? First time in around 30 years. On the second day, I lost my hearing. Went back to docs. He wanted to put me on high dose prednisone, 60 milligrams. Yes. Well, I don't think there's really a question there. I think it's more of a comment. I mean, that's quite a common antibiotic to be put on from the penicillin family. So I would imagine that side effect is quite rare, but that doesn't mean it didn't happen to you. Because it is, I think you'll find, because I've come across this before, I think people ask me because I've lost my hearing, I think it is on the patient leaflet, actually, that, where it's linked as like common, rare, ultra rare. I think it is even mentioned there that is so your doctor took you off. Now he's putting you on a steroid. So that's going to reduce the inflammation and, the swelling. But be interested to know what was being treated, to be honest. So,
and also the thing about amoxicillin, looking at as when I was back in bacteriology or whatever, like we saw a lot of weird reactions to amoxicillin. Like I think they're rare, but they're very odd. Like one of the things is a rash that you can chase. I don't know if you've ever seen this. And there's probably a name for it, and I don't remember what it was, but like I've seen people, like, you lay them out and you chase the rash with a hairdryer, like it'll pop up and it's weird. It's the way you can get rid of it. Like on the leg, it'll pop up, you shoot it with a hairdryer, and then it'll pop up on the back and it moves throughout the body. You can see it happening in real time. But that was like a reaction to amoxicillin. It wasn't like anything devastating, but it's just very odd. So it doesn't shock me that, this could be related to the, hearing thing.
Saber Truth, actually, there is an extra bit. Was I right to refuse? I'm seeing a specialist next week. Feels like still infected. Got a little hearing in my right ear, but doing my head in. I don't know how you cope is the next thing that she's put there. Well, I can't give you doctor's advice. Liz can't give you doctor's advice because this is just for education and informational purposes. If we look broadly at the steroid being offered, I think I would have taken it in that situation because, firstly, there's an admission there that the first drug didn't help you and was possibly a mistake. I think they'd be covered under their standard duty of care because I think it is like 1 in a million or something like that side effect. This is just information. I'm not telling you to do one thing or the other. But I would yeah, I would consider it. I would have considered it, I think, at the time, because you're right. It's very difficult when you can't hear, especially, going from hearing to non-hearing, and the pressure in your head, if it's doing your head in, I think you said, I totally get it. And obviously I would also be a bit bitter that something you've been prescribed has done that. Yeah, it's a difficult one, isn't it, really?
It's kind of a crapshoot, like when they're actually, because the thing is with antibiotics is that they're amazing. They can be amazing treatments. It's just they've given them out like candy though since for nothing. It's like anything that's could be beneficial can be turned into something that's a pain in the butt. But at the same time, they work. They're very effective a lot of times. And then the steroids are also again like. Can be I've had horrible things wrong with me. I took steroid and it fixed it, especially like back in the day. So, it's just it's one of those things that you have to look at your own situation and what you're going through and risk reward. Each time when it comes to stuff like that.
And it was designed to treat a bad ear infection on both sides. So yes, thank you for the whole story. Yeah, I think now you just got to proceed so carefully, and I think now you have a little bit of power on your side, because if you go to a prescribing physician and you want to ask them, auxiliary questions, you can, if they get shirty, say, well, hang on a minute, look, the reason I'm being like this is because the first thing that happened was I went deaf when I was given a penicillin-based antibiotic. All right, so I'm just double checking. I don't want the same thing to happen twice. And I think it just puts the power back in your court, so to speak. Carnivore muscles here, by the way, Jonathan. That's really good. Yay, hello. Right. Following up on your waffles, I'm just a plate of leftovers. Great name. I have a friend who fell off the wagon by having a few pancakes on Tuesday. How can he stop beating himself up over this? By not beating himself up over it is the answer. Just move on.
You just have to stop, because the community, people can really give you all kinds of heck. Like, see, I know we're on this podcast, so I said heck. People you can get a lot of crap from a lot of people about like, oh, well, why did you do this? Like, because we're people and we do dumb things. We're human beings that do stupid things all the time. Like, and we're weak a lot of times. Sometimes we're weak. So,
and it was Pancake Tuesday here in the UK, so everyone was eating pancakes.
Is that a real thing? Are you serious?
Yeah. It's a real thing. Yeah, once a year you have pancakes. So if it makes you feel any better, Jane had pancakes. And she squirted some orange juice on it. Oh, my word. Hand your card in at the door. But the thing is, in all seriousness, this is the problem with a lot of influencers. As long as the next meal you have is carnivore, you're fine. Really just accept it. You made a mistake, or you didn't make a mistake. You did it deliberately because everyone else is having pancakes and you didn't want to miss out. Whatever the justification, it's not an excuse. Just, you did that. Well, tomorrow I'm not doing that again. It's not going to be Pancake Tuesday every day, firstly, because it's not Tuesday every day, but it's only once a year. And
we live in the world, for God's sakes, not in a, experiment, or a laboratory. It's not like it's all in vivo from here. So
I tell you what, there's no such thing as a perfect person. And there is, I think it was, I don't know, Ben Franklin or something said that the man who never made a mistake never made anything.
That's true.
So you've got to do something. And that's
and I will say that there are some large engineering firms that I went to some symposiums on that actually celebrate their failures. They have a party like every time any of the designs like fail that they try to roll out, because it is such a moment for learning. And they actually do a lot of continuous improvement protocols from there. Like a lot of continuous improvement protocols that are extremely effective spawn from failures. So, if you don't fail, you don't. And plus, if you're on carnivore and you eat bad, it's like you're going to feel it usually. So it's like, hey, I'm not going to do that again typically or that often.
Yeah. And the only way to learn, you learn more from mistakes anyway, actually.
You do. Yep.
If you treat it as feedback and you treat it as what it is, telling you. So let's why is the person beating themselves up? Right. Okay. Well, possibly let's get really superficially deep. I know it's an oxymoron, but they know it's not going to be helpful for them. So that's a good thing. There's your feedback. They know that what they did is not the greatest food in the world. So build on that and say, right, okay. And then the next time I'm tempted, try and remember this feeling, sort of like live the moment. Right, okay. I don't really like how I feel now after that. So try and tap into that. The next time you're going to go off-piste and have the wrong thing, remember how you feel now and use that to stop you. So my carnivore cookbook, that's the cover of it. And there's carnivore lasagna in there. So
that sounds interesting. I'll have to put that in my little repertoire, my little 5, because I've got a few, but it's like I'll have to put that as a staple. Check that out.
Yeah, I've run out of the books. It's very popular actually, and I sort of did it as a sort of add-on after I did a book, How to Be Carnivore, and then more people got interested in the bloods and stuff. So obviously I wrote bloods and statins as well.
And everybody looks for that. I'm sorry, like in the community, like people periodically will look for recipes to do. I mean, most people, So.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the thing about the variety, when people say it's boring and it's not sustainable, well, I wanted to prove that there is variety because there's, like, I don't know, 100 recipes in there and all very different. But also, I discussed the fact that the people that say it's boring, when you say to them, what did you have for breakfast? Well, I had cereal. Well, what did you have yesterday? Cereal. what did you have? Yeah, different cereal. And then I had healthy cereal. So I think I actually eat more variety as a carnivore than at any other time in my life.
That's probably true. That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. I fell into
the preparation of stuff really is what it comes down to, because you're either going to eat the meat just in a chunk, or you're going to like grind it up, or you're going to just prepare it in different ways. You know what I mean? That's a lot of times that's all it takes. And it gives you enough variety to where you don't like do something dumb. So I think, sometimes. So, but I haven't been bored. I don't know if I think you probably feel the same way. Most of the time though, a lot of us carnivores, we don't want to have any part in cooking. Like that has been one of the best things about carnivore, at least for me, is that I don't have to cook anymore. I mean, all I do is put some in a pan and that's it. Just one pan, one piece of meat. That is the most amazing thing. Cause I got to the point where everybody's like, what's for dinner? And I got to where I hated food. I actually had an adversarial relationship with food because I just didn't want to hear about food anymore. I got so disgusted with everybody having to be entertained because it's annoying. All my family's like, I want this and I want that. And he doesn't want this thing. And I'm just like, oh my God, I'm so tired of food. But with carnivore, it's so simple that these recipes would never become a routine basis for me because I'm just too over the cooking process, Yeah,
there's no preparation. There's very little food waste, and you need much fewer in the way of kitchen utensils. It's just, and cleaning is easier if you use animal fats. Yeah, everything is super simple, I think, and that's not to be underestimated because even if you've got a dishwasher, if you're doing pans and stuff, you still need to clean those. Let's have a look at this. Denise Mitchell is saying carnivore since January 2025. 72-year-old woman, blood work just came back. Okay, excellent. Anything interesting in there? Anything that you thought was bad? That's good. Steadfast 2426. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, it is a good morning. Although here it's the afternoon. I'm interviewing the carnivore teacher this afternoon, by the way, later on. Have you seen him? Carnivore alpha teacher or something like that.
I've checked that out.
Yeah, it's Saturday's a long day for me actually, so it's nice to have this sort of funny break in the middle with you, so I'm enjoying it. Did you feel anything in the week that was grinding your gears or upsetting you that you wanted to talk about?
Well, there's always politics, so there's that. I've been watching a lot of your guys' politics. I've always followed like UK politics. Been watching a lot of that. Got kind of a Rupert situation on your hands over there. So it's like that looks slightly positive, but I don't know. I just lately, there's been a lot of, well, first of all, the GLP-1 commercial went up my butt like a rocket. And I'm sorry, I say things that it just did. It just made me angry. So that was like one of the things that I did a video on that really rubbed me the wrong way. And again, I'm not hating on anybody. I'm a capitalist and I believe you can do whatever you want to do, but I kind of view the whole GLP-1 debacle the same way that I looked at Fin, and I was right about that. So, and I was just being in the industry and knowing these drugs that are coming out of the pipeline, what they do, and I'm speaking generally. I'm not, giving any trade secrets away or nothing, but it's like when you see firsthand these clinical trials, and the execution of them and the protocols that go into with them and the results that come out, and you're dealing with FDA all the time, it's it takes away a lot of your faith in humanity. It really does. It takes its toll, and you realize the public don't know the trail of bodies left behind or the damage that's done, and the fact that they know the damage is going to be done. So when I see physicians in this space tooting their horn for something like this, yeah, it doesn't go over very well with me, but that's just me. It's my opinion. So, but that really grinded my gears, so to speak. So.
But on the flip side, you've now got a new person that you really like, which is Malcolm Kendrick.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, and I think one of the things I really liked, and we didn't have enough time, and I've said this publicly, I'm not a really huge influencer, so I don't think that these really big names are going to set aside loads of time for me. So I only set aside an hour and 15 minutes thinking that Malcolm would be too busy to talk to me. And I mean that in the nicest possible way. I'm being respectful of his time. People don't get paid to appear on my podcast because, I haven't got the money to do that. So they come on in all good grace. And he would have spoken to me, I think, for 5 hours. It was amazing. One of the things we talked about, and just to sort of paraphrase, one of the annoying things was this Lancet study, which is suggesting removing the inserts from statins because, and this is the nub of it, because what they reckon in the study is if you put side effects in the list, or potential side effects and adverse events in the list, people would just have them because they've read that that's possible, which is really the premise of the study. It's now, when you break it down, firstly, the study did not prove or even register if the people they looked at had even read the leaflet. That's the first thing. So if you're going to recommend a worldwide removal of the patient insert on the premise that there's a nocebo effect because someone has read that there's a possibility that you're going to have muscle pain, you've got to prove that all those people read it, or a substantial amount of people read it, to make that claim, which they didn't do. Secondly, these leaflets don't start with the bad news. They start with the good news. So what about the placebo effect, where they're telling people that it's going to work? That wasn't factored in. When you've got the researchers, like Rory Collins is the lead author, referring, so he's at the cholesterol treatment trialists collaboration, and two other authors whose names escape me right now, but Armitage, I think, is one of them. Anyway, they're reporting to another consortium, and it's the same people running it. So, it's all vested interests, and that data, by the way, is top secret. You cannot look at it as a third party. Now, that smells absolutely stinky from top to bottom, but that's what we're dealing with. We're dealing with that level of corruption and misinformation and hiding data, and you would think that the world would be up in arms in it about it, but it's not. The mainstream media absolutely just sucked it up and started saying, yep, there's no side effects from statins.
And this whole thing, what this is, actually what you're seeing is a response from the pharmaceutical industry to the internet, is what it is. Because the truth behind all this is that what they are is pissed off that you have shows like this And you have now information's everywhere. People can find out what's really going on. Like you don't have the gatekeeping you did back when, I don't know, Vioxx was knocking people off, right? So you can't hide all of this. And so what they do, and I've seen doctors do this. When you go to the doctor, a lot of doctors, and I've seen a lot of testimonials to this. You go to the doctor and you're like, they want you to put you on a statin. They literally will roll their eyes at you. Like if you say something about, well, I don't feel good about like going on that type of drug. I mean, they will treat you like you are some ridiculous conspiracy theorist, you know? And so that's part of it's kind of a psyop type of thing where if everybody's treated like, well, I can't say anything or I'm going to be ridiculed because I'm concerned about, you know, putting these drugs in my mouth. It's effective. Shame is an effective propaganda tool, and they are using it. It is, and the way I talk, I mean, a lot of people is like, you know, oh, she's a little bit crazy, like she thinks the pharmaceutical. It's like they are. This is a response they have to do, because if they don't, they're getting overshadowed. Like people are finding out the you know, jig is up with them in a lot of cases. So people are finding out what the real deal is, and that this is all, you know, profit margins. And then you've got the LDL stuff and all the myths and folklore that's never been proven tied to, you know, selling a drug. You know, so it's something that they've got to attack, that problem that people are, oh no, the plebs and the peasants are talking amongst each other. We've got to do something about this. So let's just say they're dreaming it up. I don't know. We don't have any evidence. I mean, but hey, we never needed any before. So why start now? You know, we can just say nocebo. That sounds good. So what marketing guy came up with that, you know, is what I want to know.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, Annie's saying here, side effects are no joke. I had a doc years ago tell me not to take a drug prescribed by another doctor. It was Reglan. Thank goodness I asked him about it first. Yeah, side effects are no joke. And the thing that Malcolm picked up on, because I sort of mentioned it quite glibly as a side effect, is new onset diabetes, which is absolutely nailed on with statin treatment. Whether it's I think I've got it in front of me. I think I've got it in front of me, actually.
That and the dementia.
Yeah,
it's honing in on it.
Yeah, high intensity, low intensity, or even moderate intensity new onset diabetes absolutely nailed on as a side effect. And he picked up on that and went, no, that's an adverse effect, because the biggest killer is diabetes or diabetes related illnesses. That's the biggest killer in the world. And statins give you a chance of getting a new onset diabetes diagnosis. So yeah, that's pretty bad.
And from a regulatory perspective, just to tell you, because that's my, you know, field or whatever, the whole thing about adverse events reporting, which is a huge thing with the FDA. You know, doctors are required to do adverse. Yeah. Do you think that's like real? Think that's a thing? Think they're actually doing that? Because I can tell you definitively they're not. They're actually not. No. And certain drugs, like you have the influence of the drug companies, certain drugs like never. I mean, they cover that up unless it's majorly, like if they think they're going to get caught. There's a lot of that going on too.
Yeah. It's yes. Yes. The side effects, I'm trying to be diplomatic, definitely are underreported. There you go.
there you go. That's the proper term. Yeah.
Yes. Right. Mr. Beaumont, how would you do cold carnivore, as in food prepped, but no way of heating it back up from the cooler, camping, etc.? I find it gets quite dry. Any ideas? Yes. Well, that is easy to fix, actually. So if you're cooking anything, if you cook it medium to rare, that's the first thing. That's going to retain the most moisture. So you're trying to make it juicy later on rather than now. Okay. So if you like it a little bit more done when you eat it hot, don't do that, because we're talking about a different experience later on. So medium rare would be good. That's more moisture. Then you let it rest properly. I would also slice it at the time of you've just cooked it. After you've let it rest, I would then slice it, and then I would store it in I don't like Tupperware, but you know, the glass type Tupperware, that's better rather than plastic. I would slice it, and then every slice I would get something like tallow or lard or something, or whatever sort of fat that you like. And I've just put a very thin layer on it, which will actually act as a barrier to stop the water evaporating out. And that would be the best way to do it. You could also then put like a blob of ghee or butter in that container as well. Your initial choice of cuts is going to be helpful as well. So obviously ribeye and something like that. Short ribs. I don't know where you are, Mr. Bowman, Chuck. If you do ground beef patties, then do the high fat percentage ones, like 20% fat. So every little thing like that is good. Obviously, all the tin foods work anyway, like sardines and mackerel, so they're okay. I would definitely have some salt to hand, because then when you do eat it, I think, and also some maybe extra butter or extra tallow, I would take it out, add a little bit of the fat of your choice. I particularly like tallow. And dripping in the UK, we call it. I put that on, then a little bit of salt. Wow, amazing. Any tips, Liz?
Yeah, I think that's it is hard. Like if you do a burger and you're not really paying attention to how you cook it and you try to take it to work the next day, it's like it's like eating shoe leather sometimes, because you got to heat it up in the microwave. So yeah, I think basically the sardine idea, or meats, clean canned meats, things like that. You can get some things that are easily portable, but cooking it yourself is always better,
Yeah, absolutely. And because you can control how much it's cooked and all that sort of stuff.
And the butter thing, adding butter to everything makes it better.
Yeah, yes.
In my world.
Yeah, I can't believe it's not better. Right. Let's do the next thing there. Let's have a look at this. Alex started carnivore January the 1st, lost a stone. Well done, which is 14 pounds for people who don't know what we do.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Sleeping better, wake up feeling way more refreshed. As of last week, I seem to be absorbing more of what I eat, which is interesting but odd to get used to. Don't really know what you mean by absorbing, but I'm assuming that is a good thing.
Not pooping, perhaps.
Not pooping, yes. This is sort of what I was thinking. Yes. Claudia is saying, we call it whisper around the world. You're talking about the telephone thing. My mum was a single parent of 6 kids. We ate a lot of beans and cornbread, and then cold cornbread with chopped up onions too, salt and pepper. And we grew up in South California, I think that is.
So yeah, Southern California, is that how they? Yeah,
I don't know.
So, SoCal. A lot of times they'll call it. I think.
All right,
but I'm not from California, so I'm just guessing. But yeah, he'd have the chopped onions with it too. That and what he called wilted lettuce. Okay, this is god awful. Okay, wilted lettuce was like, it's a leafy green, and I forgot which, I don't know. It's like the lettuce that looks like this. It's not like a head of lettuce, and it's not iceberg. And he would take that, and they would melt. They used to melt fatback, which is pork. I don't know how to describe it. It's like basically pork skin fried or whatever, and it's got a lot of fat in it. And then they would put that over it, and he called it wilted lettuce. But then my mother turned him into, like, all he ate was Crisco, so she would melt Crisco and put that over top of it, and he would eat that with it. So,
Crisco is that still around, by the way?
Yeah, I forgot what. I can't remember. I looked at this not long ago, but I don't remember what was. I think they changed, because they had the trans fat ban in it or whatever.
Yes,
and so they changed it slightly. It's still garbage. I just can't remember what version of garbage it actually is. But yeah, it's still a thing.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go into the next question from Denise. The rest of my comment, very high cholesterol, triglycerides and HDL are good. Sorry, there's a bit of a grammar thing there. So very high cholesterol, triglycerides and HDL good. Doctor very alarmed. I had a CAC, coronary artery calcium scan of 640. Sorry. Should I be concerned? Consider meds. There's really not enough information there, Denise, because there's no actual numbers there. So the triglyceride to HDL ratio, we couldn't work out without the numbers. You've said good. So that would be something that we'd need, that the actual numbers there. And also the very high cholesterol. Your very high cholesterol might not be very high, that's very arbitrary as well. There's no inflammatory markers like C-reactive protein, for instance, fasted insulin, HbA1c to assess you. That we don't know your blood pressure, don't know your age, don't know your history, don't know any symptoms. So can't really comment on that. 640 for a CAC score is very similar to mine. Mine was 639 11 years ago. So I died 5 years ago. According to the risk calculators, it's every single year I can punch my figures in, and apparently I am going to die within the end of the year. Serious, that's really serious.
That's terrible. Yeah. Well, and also a baseline is something that people don't. They'll go carnivore and they're like, "Look at this," and I'm like, "Well, what was it? What it used to be?" Because that's important. You have to have a baseline of, like, if you eat crap, like for years and years and years, every year I had these blood tests, and then you would know where you stand. Because a lot of people don't even get certain tests until they go carnivore, and then they're all worried about stuff. But if you don't know what it was, you don't know how it's changed. That's one of the big problems, I think.
Yes. And that is it. This is my big thing about bloods is one test is a snapshot in time. 2 tests gives you a little bit more information, but 3 tests gives you a trend. And you're absolutely right. So what Liz is saying there is, when I did my first coronary artery calcium scan, it was 639, and I was 49. Now, what was it when I was 39? What was it when I was 29? What was it the year before? And all of those things might seem a bit sort of being finicky, but if we saw this gradual progression over time, then it'd be like, okay, what is that compared to the general population? And this is the biggest thing I've been talking about going forward. So when I do a retest, by now, my CAC, looking at the average of people my age, so I'm 62 this year, it should be about 3,000 when I get to actually test it. So it won't be 3,000.
No, and their assumption of it being linear is dumb too. Like it has, like, there's no any other factors that would impact that. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, nope, it's just, that's the way it's going to go. It's like, that's dumb in the first place.
Yes, absolutely. But the rate of progression, is only measurable when you start doing lots of data points. So all I would say is there's a lot more information we need. Yeah. So what's this? So we've got Damudine. Well, I could have called this live. Oh, well, I've got the last few minutes. Well, yeah. You can always watch the playback. Yeah, just watch it. It's going to be up. The weird thing is, Liz, I don't know about you, but I find I get 10 times more views after the event than live.
Yeah, so that's the same, I think, all the way around the board. I think everybody does. It's interesting.
Yeah.
Well, one thing I wanted to say, like what you're talking about having a baseline, like knowing where you were to know where you're going. I think that applies as a general, like, mantra with respect to, how people are talking about beating themselves up and how they approach this diet and how perfect to be and all that kind of stuff. If you do not look back at where you came from, you're not going to know where you're going. Like, it's hard to know where you're going to go, right? So always you have to look back at what you used to do, especially when it comes to beating yourself up, because you can't just look at one moment in time. You've got to look at, look at what you used to be like. Always remember that. Always remember the torture and the horrible, like, medical conditions. Don't ever forget it, because sometimes we get too far away from that. It's easy to do. You forget, oh my God, life sucked back then, So I think that's
WD25A. Good afternoon. I will watch on playback. How concerning the CAC is, surely relative to age too. Yeah, absolutely. 640 might be concerning if you were in your late 20s, and perfectly acceptable at 69. You see, that's what I was trying to say to Denise. It's a bit more context is needed. Denise, you can always book me for a consultation. Do you do consultations, Liz?
No, I've pretty much left all the labs behind. Because, I mean, I'm not saying I won't ever do them again, but I think I did a set like right after, like not right after, but maybe 6-7 months in. to carnivore or whatever, but nothing really much to speak of. So, but I didn't do the the scans and all that kind of stuff.
Right. Okay. So. I'm doing good with the bloods. If you want to book me for consult.
Oh, definitely. That you are definitely who I'd go to if I needed to look at
Thank you.
If I start doing it.
Mr. Bowman, on the cold meats front, what actually is corned beef and what do they add to it in the can? Is it unhealthy? Right. Now, I get in trouble for this because it's the food producers change from day to day. Corned beef is actually beef, normally brisket, normally, please keep these normally bits in mind, normally cured in a sort of brine, which is salty, and the corned bit is they also add large salt crystals. So it tastes okay. All right. I don't like corned beef. Now, there's no sort of copyright to that basic recipe and production of corned beef. They can get away with calling corned beef many, many things, but it's cooked, it's preserved, it's in a can, and normally it is beef and salt crystals it was in a brine. Now, other production methods might add other things. They might add feelers. I don't know how they get away with it, but they do. And it's just the same. Literally yesterday, I was shocked to see a bottle of what looked like olive oil, and it was written in bright green, as all olive oil tends to be, in sort of that earthy, yellowy, greeny writing. Okay. The label itself was this sort of grey white thing. And this is all important because the bit above the olive oil said canola oil and the seriously, and the color of that writing was sort of grey white. And from the distance, you could not see it.
So you wouldn't see it.
You wouldn't see it, basically. But there you go. So I don't trust any food processing companies for anything. So.
And in America, you get corned beef hash, and that has a bunch of potatoes in it. Yeah. If it's canned. Yeah.
Exactly. So that's what I want to say. So corned beef can be good. Is it unhealthy? I doubt it if it's clean, but do look at what they're adding in because that makes all the difference. So, for instance, dark chocolate from Lindt apparently has a lot of problems with it. They used to do these sort of chocolate ball things with a gooey center, and that's vegetable fat. It's not chocolate. So you can't be really, really on your guard all the time. This is me pleading with you to read the ingredients of everything. Rapeseed oil over here is in virtually everything where it shouldn't even be. It's incredible. This oil, this lubricant, machine lubricant is everywhere. So
I did a video on that recently too with the Kennedy and what he's targeting, and he's not targeting to ban things, but he wants people to know how bad a lot of this stuff is. So, because they'll feed us anything. The generally recognized as sick is what I call it. It's supposed to be, it's the FDA list of generally recognized as safe where they go, oh no, I swear it's a new chemical that I'm going to put in the food, but no, honest engine, like it's really, I swear it's good. It's all good. It's like, it's going to be safe, really. Yeah. And then they just let them do it. That's how much effort that goes into just random chemicals going into your food. It's crazy.
It's awful. Liz is apparently you're turning into a Playboy bunny? Question mark.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's funny. They light up too, WD. We had some really good conversations yesterday. By the way, good to see you here. I don't know. I just love my cracking kitty. It's kitty, not bunny though. So
Joe Sleep and Slim Down Journey is saying hi, Stephen and Liz. Hi, folks. Homemade is the best. Basically, homemade is the best. Absolutely. And then we've got very high meat percentage, high purity sausages for days out. Yes, absolutely. I have no problem with sausage as long as it's high percentage meat, which you can get. Again, you still have to check. Just make sure everything else is all above board. Or canned frankfurters, tinned salmon. That's good. Yeah, good catch. We have some tinned salmon, which is very good. So Norm Chomsky You might want to change that name after the Epstein files.
Yeah, really.
Sodium nitrate is typically in the brine. Yes, and WD-25 is yeah. I think that's sort of metronome. I think that's how that's supposed to be said. I'm not sure.
It's funny.
Right. Well, that's our hour up, which is very good. Did you enjoy that?
Yes, it's been wonderful talking to you as always. Always.
We get a lot covered, I think, and some interesting questions. So to YouTubers, we'll always be here on a Saturday doing the Saturday supplement. The only supplement that you need, 2 p.m. in the UK. Here we are. They don't shut me down and put me in prison because I've tweeted that I don't like something.
Well, land of the mean tweets, man. It's got to be rough. Like, I feel for you.
Yeah. And sometimes we'll be live and sometimes we won't, but do catch us every single Saturday. Make sure that you like and subscribe and comment, and double check whether you are subscribed, because many of us carnivore influencers are seeing the numbers go down a little bit, not based on quality. And these are big influencers as well. So, just double check that you subscribe to the channels and like the channels, and make sure you add some extra comments. That'd be really great. So thank you, YouTubers. Bye.
Bye.